Well, this is Old Electronics Man, and well, this was kind of an impulse buy. This is a BK model 970 radio Analyst, and I was intrigued by it, and so it's got RF tuning. It's got a whole bunch of. It's got power supply, bias voltage out, audio output, RF out. Somebody has modified, and this was floating around on the end of this and fell off. So I don't know. I really don't know. I offered a price. I didn't think the guy would take it, but he did. So I own this now. One of the things that concerns me is that this thing was floating around. So I'm trying to. What do we got here? Well, 3 feet. That's what it's got. Let me see. Let's go up here. I don't see. Are there any? Is there anything on the bottom holding it? I don't see anything. All right. Well, let's see what we got. Now the description says not working, and I think the cord has been chewed on a bit here and there. So yeah, it's not great. If I can get this thing out, it would be nice. Hold on. There. Here we go. Well, got it out anyway. Okay. Well, let's zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, that doesn't look real good. It got chewed there, and I think there's another spot it got gnawed on. Maybe it's that one. I don't know. Anyway, oh yeah, there's a spot there. So I'm assuming they didn't plug it in. So let's see how things look under here. Oh, let's see. This poor thing has been neglected for a long time, it looks like. Right. Well, it doesn't look like it's been messed with underneath, although there are things like this this got broken off. That's supposed to go up there. And I've got wires just sticking through these holes that are supposed to be, I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be some kind of a, oh, I think these wires are supposed to have clips on, alligator clips on them, and they've been nipped off. Well, that would definitely be an issue. Let's see what we look like on the top here. It's, oh yes, lovely. Let me, we have little pellets here, and I think we know what those are. So that means that something's been roaming around here, and it's a wet spot here. So I'm guessing that they were doing more than just leaving pellets behind. How nice. Now that I actually see it, I'm thinking maybe I should have drew them down further. That's, oh, man. I definitely need a manual for this because I think this is not, all this not well, does not seem like, let's see where we're at here. Yeah, I don't think that's supposed to be that way. Okay. Alright, well that might be okay. Sure would be hard to adjust. Yeah. It sure would be hard to adjust that with it aimed downward at the chassis, which is what it was. Well, I'm going to have to remove the leftovers from our furry friends before I tackle this and clean it a bit. So I really don't want to go working with... Now this part's the easy bit to fix. So I got tons of cords. Let's take a look at our fuse. That one looks fine. We have 5 amp fuse for that one. Is that 5 amp? You never know what people are going to do. AGC 25, that looks like the wrong fuse. Yeah, I think somebody put a 25 amp in here and it should have been 5. That sure is what that looks like. Well, I'm going to leave this out as a reminder that I need to do something with that. Let's see what this one says. That fuse looks fine. Is it the right one? 50 volts. USA. Little fuse. It tells me how many volts, but it doesn't tell me. Well, the only thing I can see is there's a 3 on the end. That's new to me, but it looks like it's the right thickness, so I guess we'll call that good. So this concerns me because, well, why do we have a 25 amp fuse in here? I don't see anything there. Let me, I want to just, if I can just get in there. Yeah, lovely. Well, I wanted to get the dirt off from there because I wanted to see if there are any signs of overheating. And I don't see there are. So, oh man, that'd be messy. I think I have a little vacuum that I bought. Looks like this would be a good time to try that. Yeah. Those look like diodes with a little capacitor across them. Alright, so on-off is over here. And oh, that doesn't look great, although I can't quite tell. Let's hard to say. This looks like this is the main power transformer. because the alright, so we've got this brown wire goes here, white wire goes here, so that's one lead, and this is the hot side, and then this goes over to here. So yeah, it looks like this is the main power transformer, and then there's multiple windings in this to supply this multiple voltage output on the front, I guess. Alright, so let's take a quick check on the amplifier. Yeah, I've been working on amplifiers. I'm kind of actually I want this, and we don't want that. Alright, so we've got that, and we want to know if we have a transformer. That would be very bad if that weren't. 2.3 ohms. That's a good thing. I'm just going to totally guess at these. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I'm hoping that the secondary is fine. Of course, let's just do this. There's probably electrolytics messing with me, so. Okay, that says 10 ohms, good. 10 ohms. And what about you? I don't know. 21's probably not going to get me. Alright, well, I can check that out by putting power to it. I got to put another appropriate size fuse in there. Yeah, so these are the type of connector I need for here, and they are, well, that's broken off. I don't think this was what this had originally. This is kind of an odd setup, because you've got, this is how this was together. But I'm going to replace this with BNC connector, I guess that's what they're called. I'm having a brain fade moment, so I need to replace that and that. I need to put wires on this. Need to put a power cord on it. One of the things I'm not happy about is that this is the fine tuning, and this is, yeah. Yeah, so that turns, but it's a little stiff, so I have to get that freed up a bit. I also have to get, yeah. I don't know if I've got a knob around for that or not. I'll have to see what I've got kicking around. But that's kind of low on my list right now. So what I'd like to know is, number one, does it turn on at all? I don't see any lights. Oh, there's a power light right there. The other thing I'm going to have to do before I do anything with this is I need to get circuit diagram for this, because there's I want to know voltages for one. I want to check all of these transformers, make sure that they both work. I want to have some idea of what I'm working with. Yeah, I can see that this could be a pain to work on, because yeah, because you've got this rather thick wire that comes from here up into this. You've got another thing down here that's soldered to that pin, and there's another thing there. So I could see that being a lot of fun. In fact, the easiest way to work on this would be to take this out. Yeah, I would probably, yeah. So I would take the the knob off of this. I would take the knob off from this and remove this from the chassis. And I could slide the whole thing out, and hopefully, and I've got wires here that I'd have to deal with. 3 of them actually. So hopefully I don't need to do anything with that part. That would be nice if that were so. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute, and I'm going to find a fuse. I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit. Try to, oh yeah, right, let's go down here. I want to get a fuse for this. This is loose, which is not good. I want to clean this up, maybe get rid of the liquid that's rusting, and it is rusting the metal. Not ideal. Not in great shape. Yeah, I see, well, it's hard to tell. I see like a small electrolytic peeking up through the top there, and there's corrosion on it, but the question is that because it's leaking or because of what was dripped onto it? The top of this case is definitely rusty as well. So, yeah. Okay, well, I have things to do. Okay, well, I have my power cord. I could only find a 4 amp fuse, so that's what I put in. Usually, I forget what the ratio is, but there's usually a little bit of headroom above, beyond, and beyond. Stuff all over the place. Above and beyond what the device is demanding. Now I'm just trying to see, power signal, power. I've got to do some. All right, I don't know. Okay, well, I've got 10 volts. And let's see, auto, 6, 4, 3, and 1. So, what that means is that the power transformer is fine. It says 1.5, and let's see, we got 12. I've got 12 volts auto. So I've got to read the information in the manual about this. But that's let's see, is that, no, all right. Transistor test, meter function, ohms adjust. So this has output. Okay, so I've got, yeah, we'll turn you off for a moment. So this is a voltmeter, VOM, and it's got meter functions. So this has up to X100 for resistance. This has current, has a little bit of voltage up to 500. So what I've got to do is find one of these. I don't know if I got anything kicking around or not. I didn't think to look at that. Of course, I didn't know if this thing was even going to work. Alright, so first of all, I paid more for this than I should have. So I found another one when I was looking for a schematic, which I can't find. Another one for less than I bought this for, and it was working. So that was my mistake for not hunting around more. Live and learn. But if I can get this to work, I'm not going to grump too much, because if it works, then it's doing what I want it to do. And yes, this has more work needed, so I need to, something there, or something there, and there. I need a knob. And then I want to put a VNC connector on for this. So it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I got a knob needed for that. So there's some things that would have been nicer to have it, to have not to do that, but it is what it is. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to see if I can find something here. I don't know if I have anything or not. I don't know what I've got that I can put in there. But if I can get that replaced, then I can test this part and see if that works. But so the part that I was worried about was the transformers. So that light turned on, that means that the power transformer is working. These voltages worked, that means that this secondary transformer is working. So I think that's a good thing so far. I need to put new cables on this, and I'm going to have to come up with some clips for that. Now this is supposed to be able to do in-circuit and out. And I got to read the manual more to find out what's the deal here. And it looks like the leak in beta. This has some capability to it. Audio level modulated audio. Interesting. Band selector. Yeah, that's not great. I'm going to figure out what's going on there. In fact, let's take a look. Yeah, right there. Well. Well, this needs to be cleaned, but it also has to, there's adhesive. There was adhesive on this. I can see the remains of it, and that seems to have gone bye-bye. So, okay, I need to clean this up. I gotta see if I can make this look better. So I'll have to go through and clean these all up, clean these connectors. This is my ohms for this. Alright, we're going to go poking around and see what I can find. Well, I've done some poking around and hunting through. So let's get the schematic. I actually found one, a user's manual with a schematic in it, which is a good thing because you cannot find these even from B&K. I checked with them and they said, nope, we don't have them. So, but you can find them as part of the user's manual, and there's a little bit of servicing information in there, but it's not great. So, let me show you what's working at this point. I'll start with this. I gotta clean the control. But the audio level, so the audio at 400 hertz output works. I've got, let's see, let's back up and show you. So this seems to be pretty close. It's supposed to be on about 1,000. This is between 800 and 2,000 kilocycles, so I'm on 1,000, and it's fairly close. I had to glue this pointer back on, and it seems to be hanging. Yeah, bleh. It seems to be holding on there pretty good. I think this part works. So I've got one of the things I found out with frequency generators is that RF, when you start climbing higher up in the frequency, you wind up having to crank the RF level higher. I don't really need you anymore. So if I back off too much, it goes to 0. So, and I think my Belkin, or my B&K 2005A signal generator does the same thing. So let's see, we're on C, and we should be just 10.7, and that's pretty good. It's right there. So, yeah. So, for using this for FM and stuff like that, that'll be great. Signal tracing, you can use this part for that. I have power supply here for, I think it's limited to 1 amp when you're using all the settings except auto, 12 and auto, or 12 volt. 6 volt auto and 12 volt, boy, I can't talk. 6 volt auto and 12 volt auto, those are 5 amps. And, but otherwise, I'm pretty sure that, anyway, I think 1 amp is what you get. So this part works. I don't know why that's doing that, bumping. I've got this, so this works, the audio works, RF level works, the meter, no works. And, unfortunately, because the meter doesn't work, transistor testing doesn't work. So that's kind of important part of this, and I was going to put new wiring on here and test, but then I saw they have this jack right here, and the manual does tell you which pin is what. So I stuck this little transistor in there, and yeah, it's not happening. So, and actually DC out, yeah, this is the DC out, so that does work. Bias, I'm not sure about. On one of the, on some of the stuff, so this in-circuit stuff, if I remember what I just read, you have to supply power to the radio, the transistor radio that you're testing from here. And then you select this in-circuit, and then you can do things in-circuit. But this has to be connected to whatever it is that you are working on. So, but just being able to just quickly test a transistor, because you've got leakage, you've got beta. Let's see. And so there's a number of tests. You got leakage, beta, and I can't remember what else it gives you. And that's the other thing is that this thing, if you do that, if you touch it, it does that. But there's a cure. I think I don't know if there's a anti-static spray I can put on here, but if I just wet it down with soap or something, then the static goes away and the meter goes back down. And I did test, I think I showed that I did test, and the meter does respond. The meter is still, this adjustment here, I think we snapped a little plastic pin off that's supposed to adjust the needle. And if this was working, I would probably take it apart and see if I can do something to make the adjustment work again. But I don't know. One of the things that I was dealing with was that this meter wasn't working at all. Where did I put it? those. The let's see, plug this in. So let's see. Let's go to there. All right. I just grabbed a battery at one point, and I wanted to see if this was working at all. And so I did my battery, nothing. Now, that is slightly under the 1.5 volts that this measures. But this is not where it belongs. And I have to pull this, I am going to pull this cover off. I'm going to take the meter out, pull this cover off. I'm going to see what they did to this. I'm pretty sure they broke something inside there. But here's the thing that really bothered me, was because you turn this on, you have to have it on because that supplies the power for the meter. There's not a battery in here, it's the power, it's got a little power supply. So here I am, I've got my 100k ohm resistor, and let's see, where are we at? We're on times 10. Alright, so R times 10, so that's 100k ohms. If I go 10 times 10k, that's 100k ohms. You notice where the needle is? It's way down here. And I think that's because this is on an angle. And if I go to, whoops, there, now I'm on 1k, now we're times 100. So 100 times 1k is 100k ohms. And again, you see it's a little bit to the left. But that tells me that this meter is working, and it's probably calibrated okay. Let me show you what I mean by that. Don't need it right now. Yes, so. So we've got this little pot right here, and it is, I was worried because this was tilted down, and that's not the best thing, especially for all the stuff that was falling into this. We had our furry crumb crunchers, our little cheese snackers. Let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, I'm shocked that that's not in worse shape. So it looks like this is okay. Now, this is part of working on electronics, and I've got to deal with it. But I'm not a big fan of this stuff. When you get into, oops, something that's got, 3 or 4 different, well, you've got 3 different wafers, and you've got fronts and backs on these. So, I've got color codes on things so I can help myself find things, trace things around. And I also use this because this sometimes helps me to look behind the wafer that I can't see in front of, and it helps me trace things out. So I wanted to know what these were, these shunt resistors. And this right here, I've got 5A there. That's telling me this is the 5 amp connection. When you rotate this around, it makes the connection between here and here. Well, I kept looking at that saying, boy, that doesn't seem right. It is right, but there's the black lead connection and the negative and the positive. When you turn this rotor, the switch all the way around to here, you're actually connecting. You've got 2 of these adjustable shunts, one here and one here. This one goes right across these 2 connections. That's where your meter is connected. That's where your leads are connected, I should say. And so I looked at that and said, something isn't right. And what's not right, let me show you on here. throw some light on the subject. Let's see here. Because you know, I do this far too often. I should just start off saying I'm going to dig into this and do it, because what happens is I look at something and I say, oh, man, do I really want to dig into that? I don't want to dig into that right now. Or do I really want to fight my way through the mess or some of the complicated circuitry to find out what's wrong? Usually the answer is, in my heart really is like, yes, I do want to do this, but part of me says, oh, I don't really want to do this. So I fight my way through that and said, yes, I am going to do this. Part of the problem is that some days I don't feel so hot and I have to fight that as well. But I don't want to bore you with that. So anyway, but every time I push myself and I get into something and I figure things out, I feel good about it. So I'm going to try to do that more. So let's look at, all right. Now I was going to play around with, you see these two wires? These have been unsoldered from somewhere. I think that one went here and then one went over here. But they didn't go directly to those connections. They went to those two adjustable resistors. Now, when you have this on 5 amps, well, actually, I started tracing this out to try to figure out where I was going to hook the other end of the resistors I was going to play with, just to see what I could find out. And once I got into trying to figure out where these were supposed to go, I realized that somebody had put these two wires in there. And I want you to see something. See how clear, how bright colored that is? And look at that. Both of these have gotten hot. Very hot. I don't really know what the resistance is supposed to be, because what they show me on the schematic is, I'm guessing it's the 0667, I guess A must be amps, and the other one is 044A. So it seems weird, but anyway, those are the only numbers I have. I don't know what the resistance is. The parts list doesn't tell me. It tells me that it's made of a particular wire, but it doesn't tell me anything else. And it tells me that these two resistors are the same, same type of material, the manganese metal, what the name of the metal is. So I have finally concluded what this is. What that means is, I don't care about that. I've now figured out, and this is the other part of when you dig into things, sometimes you find out, oh, that's what it is. I don't need that, or I don't care, or whatever. Or here's a way around it, or something. This is not a way around it. They did, now this is the other part that's really strange, and I don't understand why they did this, but let me go back here, and we're going to go to, alright, so we go up here, abbreviations, and we see, right there, W.W, wire wound. Well, if you go down here, does it show me that? Oh yeah, right here. 29 and 38 made from resistance wire. So it sounds like, and when you go back to this, you go up here, it claims that it's a adjustable shunt, which obviously these two wires are not. Bottom line, so I actually put put a request out to a guy who has one of these, and he's got a YouTube channel. And I asked him, I said, could you find out what these are and tell me if they're variable or not, because that's what the schematic says. And so he said he would look into it. He's busy, but he said, maybe a week or so, maybe a week I'll be able to get to that. And it's okay, great. So, but because I fought through it, and it's amazing how you think you've got something sorted out, and then I decided, well, I had recorded something and I didn't like it, and part of it was because I clearly did not fully understand what I was dealing with. And I said, well, that's a waste of time. How about if I go back and try to figure this out again? So I did. So the end result is this doesn't matter to me now. I know what it is, I know what it's for, and I can live without that. I've got enough multimeters here that I can use one of those for my current measurements. It's this is not essential. So, end result is I'm moving on now. If he gives me information that's helpful and I can do something with it, great. If not, I just know that I'm not measuring 5 amps with this thing, because it's let's see, I'm looking at this. It is what it is. And the other thing that bothers me is a little bit is that I've got 2 fuses back here. That one says 5 amps, that says 3 amps. If I'm measuring 5 amps through this, am I pushing this fuse to its upper limits? I haven't looked at what that fuse is, what part of the circuit that is in. Or is it, that's right there. I'd have to dig through this. Oh, DC out. Okay. Alright, that makes more sense. This fuse is for the DC power supply. I think I had that figured out once, and yeah. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to do. Now that I know what's going on, and I can see that this. Oh, actually, let me go back to this for a minute, because all of this color that I put in here and all the time I spent on this was to find out why the meter wasn't working. And I think at one point I measured the voltage across here was 700 millivolts, something like that. So, but the meter wasn't working. The meter wasn't doing anything. And that makes no sense, because I actually put a meter across. So I actually put a meter across my multimeter, across this, the post of this meter, and I saw the needle deflect. So I knew that this wasn't damaged as far as I could tell, but it wasn't working when I was feeding voltage into it. That little 1.5 battery or the ohms measurement, neither one of those were working. So I said, okay. So I took one of my DC power supplies, it's hiding back there somewhere, and one of them goes right down to 0.1 volts. So I said, that should be okay. So I jumpered across here, and I was slowly turning it up, and every time I went to 0.2 volts, this thing would peg. And I turned it back down to 0 and then tried to edge it up, and it wasn't fine. It's got a fine adjustment, but it's, I don't know, it's not fine enough, I guess. But so it kept jumping up to maximum the needle went pegging several times. I said, all right, fine, before I harm something, I'm going to stop. And then, I don't know what prompted me to try that, because I saw it kept doing that. I said, well, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to see if this meter works. And all of a sudden, I had a working meter. It makes no sense. The only thing I can think of is that maybe operating these, I did clean these, operating these controls a lot, playing with things, trying to trace things out. Maybe I finally made decent connections and this started to function. I honestly don't know. But this is a lot closer to working. I know for a fact, no question about it, that these, let's go here, all these slide switches, I don't know if they're all working properly. Given how this thing was abused, I wouldn't be shocked if they're kind of corroded. So I'm going to hit these with, I actually just got my, let's see, no, not that one. I've got, yes, there it is. I got my Deoxit Fader F5, not a sponsor. I'm too small a fish for me to get sponsors, but so I'm going to try this. I'm going to clean my controls here, and then I'm going to then I'm hoping I can get this slide over here. This is the socket that you can plug transistors into. So I'm going to look up a transistor, find out where the emitter base collector is, because this order is the same as this here. I'm pretty sure, and I can find out from the color codes from the back, because they show you on here. Yes, emitter base collector. Emitter base collector. Yes. So, yep. So this is the same as this. So I can plug in a transistor. I can, once I get these switches cleaned up and working properly, hopefully that solves this problem. So if I get this working, this is the part of the transistor of the tester that I really wanted. I mean, I like having the RF signal generator and the audio tone. I've got other things that can do that, but having everything all in one unit like this could be handy. So, and this is the part that I really want to get working. And now it looks like I can, because everything else seems to. The DC out works, audio and the RF generator works, the power supply up here works. So everything except this, as far as I can tell, is now working. So I think, bias supply. So I think I'm very close to making this completely work. Now I've got some things, I don't want to ignore these, but I was not dealing with this or this because, well, I did with this one. These two were tied together. I have no idea why. I thought for sure this one would be open or dead. It's not. The ESR is a little bit worse than this, but they're close in value. The ESR is better on this one. That's why I hooked this one up. But I want to check this, but even this, I think this is part of the audio. It is. So I might be able to get away with just not even bothering with that one. Depends on whether it causes problems. And this thing's been abused, but I think it's going to be okay in the end. And so I think, I'm hoping that this part works up here, and then I can start really playing with this. I'm going to repair the meter, and we'll go from there and see where I get to next. But that's going to be that's my ultimate goal. I want this to work. And the other thing is, I use the non-residue contact cleaner. The downside of that stuff is, well, it does a fairly good job of cleaning these types of things, it doesn't leave any lubrication on there, and I have to have that on there. I really want that. So I'm going to lubricate this, but I'm going to do, but the other thing I've got to do, actually, I don't know if I mentioned it before, a number of these resistors. There's one on the back here. There's one in the back behind this wafer that's way out of spec. I think some of these are. So I'm going to have to go through and check all of the resistors here, because that won't help my accuracy any either. Especially for the transistor tester part. I want that to be as accurate as it can get, as I can get it. I mean, this is an old unit. I don't know how old this is. 60s? I'm not sure. But anyway, so I really would like to get this working because I think it could be a helpful tool for me. And I did learn something, and I think I mentioned it already, but I'll say it again. The thing that I was hoping for was that I could use this for testing transistors in circuit. And you can, but the radio that you're working on has to be powered from here. You put this in circuit, you have to supply the power for the unit you're testing. And I don't know, I guess I could depending on the transistor radio and what voltages it uses or needs. I mean, the voltages here, 1.5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 12. Those are pretty standard voltages for portable radios. And they actually have 15 volts up there. But some of the stuff that I work on isn't going to want those voltages. It'll want something else. So using this in circuit, which I thought would be kind of nice, probably isn't going to happen unless I start getting into portable transistor radios, and maybe I will at some point. But right now, that's not going to be the priority or the main types of things that I work on. So anyway, I hope that wasn't TMI, too much information. Yeah, I think it's a neat little unit. I don't know what they're really worth, and I saw another one that was in better shape. It was much better condition. But with shipping, that one costs more than this one did. And, you know, this is a budget operation, so I'm always looking to try to get things for reasonable. Every once in a while I get bit, and I kind of did maybe with this, but I think in the end I'm going to be happy with what I've got here, especially if this part works for out of circuit. And if I decide that it's not useful and I've got it all fixed and looking good and working good, then I'll sell it. I'm not wedded to anything, so. But this has got to go. I want to fix that. But you notice I haven't done a lot of things because I just didn't know what I had. But this has actually worked out pretty good. This is I used the E6000, and that glued that on there quite nicely, and I don't think it's going anywhere. So sometimes and this, the little shaft that this is mounted to is 1/8 inch. The hole in this knob is 1/4 inch. So I took a piece of metal, shaped it, bent it, and fit it in there to fill up the gap, and then was able to tighten the screw against it, and it works great. Not a problem. So you got to get creative sometimes. All right. I'm hoping to come back and show you this working properly. hopefully this working. We'll see. Here's what I think happened. I thought for sure this little pin, hard to see it. Can we do that? There it is. I was fairly certain this pin had been broken off. But what I think has happened, or did happen, somebody had this apart. Why, I don't know. Was they had this arm to the side and they put this together, and that little pin didn't wind up in there. And hoping I can get this where I want it to go. Let's see. I mean, if that's all that's wrong with it, that would be so nice. Let's see here. Can't see. These are so much fun. They really are. They are not easy. Oh, can I do that? Maybe? Oh. Yeah, that's not moving far enough. Because if I do this a little bit further, I can get it to go. I can get it where I sort of want it, but it's not. I don't know. Is this? Let's see, it's not going to go. I don't know. Not exactly sure why. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty much over as far as it's going to go. Usually on this little arm there's a little coil, a spring coil, that connects this to the arm, and I don't see any connection there. I don't see it, and there's no way I can fix that. Nothing I can see that says this is how that works. So well, I don't know. Well, anyway, I'm not going to sit here and have you watch me fight with this. Actually, I'm going to clean the inside of this out. I'm going to try to get it all back together, and we will see what we can see. Okay, well, I've got this needle aligned to 0. I had to do it without this because the little swing arm inside there, this adjustment doesn't have the correct range for that to line up the needle. I really think there's a spring missing, a very light spiral wound spring that's supposed to be on there. But even without the spring, and this actually, let me back up, this thing going all the way over just because you've touched it, I think that's one of the reasons why it does that, is because it doesn't have that spring. That's what I think anyway. But anyway, so if I do this, yeah. So right now I've got it off, the needle is lined up. I've got a transistor in down here. Let's do this. So I've got my transistor in here. I've got set the PNP because I know that that's what it is. This is a signal transistor. It's a small one, not a power transistor. And they tell you to start off with the leakage set to, talk. The leakage beta switch is supposed to, you start off with it set to leak. And if you turn it on, I see just a slight little bump there, and then it's fine. And now if I go to beta, you've got the 0 to 300 range here, and that tells you, number one, this transistor is good. It didn't have a leak. It's not down here in the beta range. And so our transistor's somewhere around 75. And I'm curious to see. So it's working. It actually is working now. I did clean all these controls, which I was pretty sure they were not healthy. And with all the garbage that came down in there, I'm surprised that they work at all. But it seems to work. So let's just, for the fun of it, let's see here. And let's see. Now this is 137, and it does say PNP, and it tells me what the pinouts are. So this says around 75, this says 137. And I don't know if I have, what does this tell me, what I want to know? I wonder. I have in this, this meter, I have a transistor slot, and I don't know, let's see, HFE. Alright, well, just for the fun of it, and this way it's emitter base collector. Emitter base collector, so go that way. So yeah, alright, let's do that. And that's saying 140. That one says, this one says 137. This one says 75. So, I think that what I'm probably dealing with are out-of-spec transistors, or resistors. I'm pretty sure that's part of it. Find out. I know already that some of the resistors are way out of spec. So that's going to be the next thing I do. But this actually works. Doesn't work great, but it works. So that seems to be okay as long as it stays where I want it to, and hopefully it does. Then, and I did try a battery in here, and it's still coming up like 1.4, something like that. So that's not great, but I mean, it's not terrible, let's put it that way. But so I have no doubt though that things will go better, or will be better, if if I replace the out of spec resistors. I have a feeling that'll help. So that's going to be the next thing I do. Yeah, and actually, and the other thing that's just running through my mind, I'll say it while I'm thinking about it. You can adjust this. They give you instructions on how to use a radio to actually adjust this. So we're gaining ground here. I gotta get some more jump leads so I can replace those. Well, it depends. It really depends. I'm going to go through this, replace all the flaky resistors, check capacitors that haven't been tested yet, and check some voltages wherever that gives me voltages, and then I'll try this again, fact that this is working is a good thing. Before it was not. Of course, I may not have gotten the transistor in there far enough. I did hit this with this little socket with cleaner. So again, this thing has not been well taken care of. So that's going to be the next thing. I'll tell you what, it's going to be fun. Let's see here. I don't know. Well, I don't know if you can see in there or not. Probably not. Right down in here, there is a resistor. You can't see it. So I got a couple, at least one of those. You think, is there anything else hiding down there? Oh, I don't think so. So, yeah. What may happen with that one is, yeah, let's see. I thought there was another one hiding somewhere. I don't see it offhand. But, oh, I might as well, while I'm showing all the different ways you can go wrong. This, oops, I want to show you. And you can't really even see it. Maybe, right there, that one, okay. This, yeah. This has four, this is the value of this resistor is contained in these three bands. And this is the first time I've ever seen a resistor that had a red. And I believe that's supposed to be 2%. Red tolerance. That's the word I couldn't think of. Red, yeah, 2%. So this is interesting. Let me show you. Let me back out a little bit. All right. A lot of the stuff I work with, most of the stuff I work with, doesn't have these. So I'd look some things up, but brown, 1%. Red is 2%, and so on down the line. And then you get down here, silver and gold, 5 and 10. But you can actually get into 0.5, 0.25, 0.1, 0.01. Definitely never seen those. But anyway, so this has some 2% resistors in it. And that confused me at first, so I had to go and sort things out and try to figure out. So I had to go and do a little hunting to try to figure out what was going on. Because at first, what I was running into was, well, this is 2. So I was thinking of this as 105 and then 2 zeros, and that I haven't seen a red tolerance band before, but once I realized what that was, then obviously the rest of this made sense. And we've got a gold down here. What is this one? We've got, what are you? I can't tell what that one is. I can tell you it's way out of spec, and that's not ideal. So, I don't know. I think what's going to have to happen with this, I've got these 2 resistors, and I've got that one hiding behind there. So what I'm probably going to wind up doing with this one is take these 2 resistors out so I can get at that one. That's probably the only way. My other option would be to just try to cut that one out and then mount it on this side. But I'm not terribly excited about that, so we'll see where this goes, although I do have this wire in the way. So that might be an issue. Well, we'll figure it out. Anyway, so I'm going to measure, I'm going to check all of these out. Any that don't read with inspector are going. So that's where I'm going to start, and then I'll go back to this, and yeah, the angle on this, when I go straight down, it's actually almost perfectly in line. which I'm surprised I got it that close. So I basically had to adjust that while this cover was off, and then put everything together and hope that it stayed together. It stayed where I wanted it to. So, all right. So that's the next thing I'll be tackling. And I've decided to call this part 1 and end it here. I think this video has gone on long enough. So I hope you enjoyed it so far, and if you did, leave me a like, subscribe, comments are always welcome. So do all of those things if you hadn't yet, and hopefully, and I'll see you on part 2, I hope.